Now that we understand that the main element here can serve as a landmark, let's now go and create at least 2 sections inside of it. Let me just go and create 2 sections. So let me just Control C that and Control V. I would want to have a section that will be pertaining to, let's say, the author of the website, and I would want to, let's say I'm a story writer and I would want to create an about information about me, so I'm going to use a comment here, and here I would want to go and put the main stories. So let's have children's stories here, the stories that I will be writing, or original stories. So let me save that. So when we say section element, this is pertaining to a part of the document that we would want to define as a section. So according to W3C's HTML documentation, a section is a thematic grouping of content, typically with a heading. So that means that this should be, let's go and put that comment here, as according to W3C's, a section is a thematic grouping of content, typically with a heading. Okay, just remember that this is going to be a thematic grouping of content that we would want to place inside of our document. So usually a home page could normally be split into sections for introduction, content, and then contact information. Okay, so now in here, some key things that you have to remember, that this is a sectioning content. So this section element is part of the groupings or category, and it's under the sectioning content. Some of the key things in using the section element is that it should be typically identified by including heading content. So as we've discussed before, heading contents can be from H1 to H6, if you remember. So usually the heading content will be a child element of the section element. And it's also important that we do not use the section element as a generic container. This is what div is for. So we'll talk about the div element in our formatting section in this course. So what do I mean? Because before, let's have an example here. So before, this is how normally some developers will be using or creating their sections. So we have a heading here, and then a paragraph, bunch of let's say awesome content. Okay, and this is not advisable, but because again the div element usually is just used for styling and positioning your elements. Later on we'll understand that as we go along the formatting section of our document. So this is the before method that were used by some developers. And now, for us to be able to give semantic meaning, we now use what we call here, sorry for that, instead of using the div element, we use the section element here to describe this following content inside of it. This is much preferred, and this is the proper way of giving semantics to our document. So let me just go and copy this and place this inside of our comment section, so at least you can still go and check it out later on. So let's remove this here and here. At least you'll have an idea that that's the thing that we've discussed before. And here what I want to do here is that I would want to go put a about me header here. And inside of the other section here, I also want to have an H1 that will be telling the users of my site that these are my original stories. Now if we save this and we go to our document here, okay, as you can see in our content, there's a text box here, an input box, and an HR line here. That's because of the element that we used here, and the input, where's that input element? Here, that's the input element. But if we try to refresh this, everyone, you would see that it will be showing us a header 1, an about me header, and my original stories header for the 2 sections. So if we try to look it up here and try to go to our code editor, and we go to our main element, and inside of that we have the section here. So if we go down here, you would see it's selecting this block. So if we go to select this section element here, we will see that the display font value is block, and the font family got inherited from the body element. Don't worry about the inheritance word that we have seen here. We will be talking about that in the formatting section of our course.